Welcome to the Wisdom Tribe. If you are listening to this right now, it is not by coincidence, it is by divine appointment. You didn't just stumble here, you were drawn here by the Spirit of the living God. This message carries something that belongs to you. Your spirit called for it and heaven answered. You are not here by accident. You are here because heaven has already stamped you as chosen, set apart, and destined for greatness. From the day you were formed in your mother's womb, God wrote your name into His plan. And now this urgent word is confirmation. God has declared a state of emergency in your life. But listen carefully. This is not an emergency to destroy you. This is an emergency to save you. It is not a signal of defeat. It is a divine alarm, a heavenly intervention that says, I will not allow my child to stay stuck, broken, or overlooked any longer. This state of emergency is God Himself stepping in to rearrange what men tried to ruin. It is God shifting timelines, breaking chains, and accelerating your destiny. You have felt pressure. You have felt confusion. You have even questioned if you were forgotten. But the truth is, heaven has been watching. Heaven has been preparing, and heaven has been waiting for this very moment. Right now, as you listen, know this. Angels are being dispatched. Doors are being unlocked and strongholds are being dismantled. God is rescuing you from hidden traps, pulling you out of cycles meant to destroy you and positioning you for the breakthrough that was written with your name on it. This isn't just a word, it's a divine interruption. God has declared a state of emergency in your life because you are too important, too anointed, too chosen to remain where you are. The shift begins now. Before we go any further, if your spirit is resonating with this urgent word, type 7 in the comments right now. That number is not random, it represents a spiritual emergency, a heavenly alert that God has stepped into your situation to rescue, restore, and redirect your life. When you type it, you're declaring in faith that you recognize the urgency of this moment and you are ready for divine intervention. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Wisdom Tribe, and make sure you watch this message all the way through, because God's emergency response in your life is about to be revealed in ways you never imagined. Let's dive in. Chapter 1. Heaven's alarm is sounding. Child of God, heaven does not ring alarms for small matters. The sound of heaven's alarm is not casual, it is a holy signal, a divine decree that something critical in your life has reached its turning point. When God declares a state of emergency, it means He has placed your situation at the top of His agenda. It means the King of Kings has leaned forward on His throne and said, I will not allow this to continue another day. My child's time has come. For too long you've been carrying the battles in silence. You've cried behind closed doors where no one could hear you. You've walked into rooms with a smile even though your heart was heavy. You've endured betrayal, misunderstanding, false accusations, and attacks that seemed to come out of nowhere. You've fought battles no one applauded you for, and you've stood in storms that would have broken others. But nothing has been hidden from God. Every tear you shed was caught by His hand. Every injustice you endured was written in His book. Every prayer whispered in the dark was recorded in heaven's archives. And now heaven has sounded the alarm. Angels have been released with your name on their assignment. Doors that were stubbornly shut are trembling on their hinges. Chains that tried to keep you bound are rattling and breaking under the weight of God's authority. What once looked like endless delay is shifting into divine acceleration. God has declared, enough is enough. Think of how an alarm works in the natural. When a fire alarm sounds, it demands attention, it causes movement, it shifts focus, it interrupts everything else because danger has been identified. In the spirit realm, heaven's alarm functions the same way. It interrupts your cycles, it shakes up your environment. It draws attention from the hosts of heaven and releases the hand of God to act swiftly. This is why you've been feeling unsettled, why certain people are suddenly leaving your life, why opportunities are shifting, why things that once seemed stable are being shaken. It's not chaos, it's coordination. It's not destruction, it's divine rearrangement. Heaven's alarm is disrupting everything that doesn't belong to your destiny. Child of God, this alarm is not only for your ears. The kingdom of darkness hears it too. The spirits that thought they had you in their grip are trembling because they know what heaven's alarm means. When God declares an emergency, it is also a declaration of eviction. Every demonic force, every generational curse, every hidden chain has been served notice. Release my child or face my wrath. This alarm is not a suggestion. It is a command backed by heaven's army. You are too important to God's plan to remain in delay. Your calling is too valuable. Your assignment too vital. Your destiny too urgent. That is why the alarm has sounded now. It is heaven's way of saying, I am accelerating their journey. I am pulling them out of the pit. I am positioning them for the promise. I am restoring what was stolen and multiplying what remains. So don't panic when you feel the shaking. Don't be discouraged when people fall away. Don't fear when your life feels like it's being flipped upside down. This is not punishment, it is positioning. This is not rejection, it is redirection. God is making room for what He is about to pour into your life. The sound of heaven's alarm is not the sound of your defeat. It is the sound of your deliverance. It is the announcement that your wilderness season has expired, that your midnight hour is ending, and that your breakthrough is no longer on the way. It is here. Child of God, hear this with your whole spirit. The alarm is not to frighten you, but to awaken you, to stir your faith, to let you know that God has heard, God has moved, and God has already decided your case in your favor. You are stepping into a divine acceleration where what should have taken years will be accomplished in months, where what seemed impossible will become your testimony, and where every battle you endured will now make sense. Chapter 2. God sees what you cannot see. Child of God, one of the most humbling truths of walking with God is this. He sees beyond the surface. Where your eyes stop, His vision continues. Where your understanding ends, His wisdom has no limits. There are dangers, traps, and snares you didn't even know were being set around you. And yet the very reason you are still standing today is because heaven stepped in when you didn't even know you were in danger. Think about it. How many times did you trust someone with a smile on their face, not realizing their heart was plotting against you? How many opportunities looked like blessings, but beneath the surface they carried poison that would have destroyed you? How many doors did you pray to enter, not knowing that behind those doors were traps designed to derail your calling? And yet every single time God's hand covered you. His Spirit whispered, not this one, and don't go there. What you thought was delay or denial was actually deliverance. Child of God, the state of emergency declared over your life is not punishment, it is protection. Heaven saw what you could not see. The enemy was preparing weapons, but before they could launch, God intercepted them. The arrows that were meant to pierce you were broken mid-flight. The plans whispered against you in dark corners were silenced before they could manifest. The snares dug for your feet were exposed and dismantled by unseen angelic hands. This is why some people suddenly left your life. It wasn't rejection, it was protection. You cried over their absence, not realizing their presence would have cost you your destiny. This is why certain doors you begged God to open stayed firmly shut. You thought He was ignoring your prayers, but in reality He was shielding your life from disaster. Had those doors opened, you would have walked straight into destruction disguised as opportunity. Understand this, the state of emergency was not declared because you failed. It was declared because the enemy tried to get too close. God said, "I will not allow my child to be overtaken. I will step in before the attack reaches them. I will frustrate the plans of darkness before they take root. I will declare an emergency to protect what I myself have invested in. And this protection is not temporary, it is ongoing. While you are sleeping, heaven is awake. While you are unaware, heaven is on guard. While you are simply living your daily life, heaven is scanning every move of the enemy, intercepting plots and preserving the path of the righteous. This is why the Bible says, no weapon formed against you shall prosper. Weapons may be formed, but they will never prevail because God dismantles them before they reach your life. Child of God, hear this clearly. God does not just see your present, He sees your future. And because your future is too valuable, He will not allow short-term traps to destroy long-term purpose. The reason heaven declared this state of emergency is because your destiny is under construction, and anything that threatens it must be removed immediately. So the next time something doesn't work out, don't panic, thank God. The next time someone walks away, don't chase, praise Him. The next time a door shuts in your face, don't cry. Lift your hands and worship, because unseen battles are being fought on your behalf. What feels like loss is really protection. What looks like delay is really divine redirection. And what you thought was rejection was God's loudest way of saying, "I love you too much to let this touch you." Child of God, heaven is ahead of you. God sees what you cannot see. And because of that, you are shielded, preserved, and protected by divine intervention. Chapter 3. The enemy knows your value. Child of God, understand this truth. Warfare is never wasted, and it is never random. The reason the battles have been so intense in your life is not because you are weak, but because you are valuable. The enemy does not waste his resources on people who have no purpose. He does not fight against those who pose no threat to his kingdom. The reason you've been under such relentless attack is because hell recognizes what heaven has already spoken over your life. From the very beginning, the enemy has seen glimpses of your destiny. He knows that your life is marked with purpose, that your voice carries authority, and that your presence carries light. He has watched as God poured anointing into you, even in your broken seasons. He has heard the prophecies spoken over your name. He has seen the angels assigned to guard you, and He knows the weight of your calling. This is why the pressure has been so heavy. Because you are not ordinary. You are a chosen vessel. Think about it. If you were insignificant, you wouldn't be a target. If you had nothing to offer, the attacks wouldn't come. The very fact that hell has been restless about you is proof of your divine importance. That depression you battled, it was designed to silence your voice. That betrayal you endured, it was meant to break your trust so you would never love or lead again. Those financial struggles you faced, they were sent to distract you from your purpose and keep you from walking in generosity and abundance. Every arrow was intentional because the enemy knew your value. But here's the good news. Heaven has declared a state of emergency on your behalf. That means the enemy's timeline has been canceled. His agenda has been overturned and his authority has been revoked. What he planned against you has already been dismantled by God's hand. Every scheme, every strategy, every whispered lie, heaven has intercepted it. Child of God, this is why you are still standing. You've been through storms that should have destroyed you. You've faced betrayals that should have left you bitter. You've carried burdens that should have crushed you. But instead of breaking, you are rising. Instead of quitting, you are enduring. Instead of losing your faith, you are becoming stronger. And this frustrates the enemy because no matter what he throws at you, God keeps lifting you higher. Hear this clearly. Your anointing attracts warfare, but it also secures victory. The oil on your life is not cheap. It has been tested through fire, tears, and struggle. And now that God has declared an emergency, every attempt of the enemy is collapsing. The same battles that once intimidated you are now proving your authority. The same storms that tried to drown you are now teaching you how to walk on water. The same rejection that tried to destroy you is now the platform for your promotion. So do not despise the warfare. Let it be confirmation that you are valuable. Let it remind you that you are chosen. And let it strengthen your faith, knowing that if the enemy has been this determined to stop you, it must mean that what God has planned for you is beyond imagination. Child of God, you are not defined by the fight. You are defined by the victory that is guaranteed through Christ. And the emergency that heaven has declared over your life is proof that God Himself has stepped onto the battlefield. You will not lose. You will not be overtaken. The enemy knows your value, but now he will be forced to witness your victory. Chapter 4. When God interrupts your plans. Child of God, sometimes the greatest blessing comes disguised as disruption. You may have noticed things suddenly shifting in your life. Plans you thought were solid falling apart. Relationships you thought were forever suddenly breaking. Opportunities you were sure about collapsing before your eyes. At first glance, it feels uncomfortable, even painful. You ask yourself, why now? Why me? Why this way? But what you are experiencing is not chaos, it is the divine interruption of heaven. God has declared a state of emergency, and in His mercy He is rearranging things for your protection. There were cycles in your life that had to be broken. There were people around you who carried hidden motives. There were opportunities that looked shiny but were filled with hidden traps. And because you are chosen, God would not allow you to continue in a direction that could destroy your destiny. You see, child of God, sometimes you call it loss, but heaven calls it preservation. You call it delay, but heaven calls it redirection. That job you didn't get, that relationship that ended, that door that slammed in your face. Those were not punishments, they were protections. God knew what you could not see. He heard conversations you weren't privy to. He saw dangers forming that your eyes couldn't detect. And so, in His love, He interrupted your plans to preserve your purpose. Think about Jonah. He had his own idea of where he wanted to go, but God had to interrupt his journey because Nineveh was waiting. Think about Paul. His plans were to persecute the church, but God interrupted his path with a blinding light because nations were waiting for his voice. Think about you. Those sudden shifts in your life are not random. They are proof that God's hand is steering you toward destiny. Child of God, hear this clearly. When God interrupts your plans, it may hurt at first, but it always heals in the end. That person who left you was not carrying your future. That door that closed was not leading to your promise. That sudden shift was not rejection, it was redirection. God is not taking something from you, He is saving you for something greater. Yes, it feels like an emergency because your flesh resists change. Yes, it feels like a loss because you had already pictured how life would go. But what feels like the end is really the beginning of something new. The emergency you are facing is not a punishment. It is preparation. God had to clear the stage so that the right people, the right opportunities, and the right blessings could enter your life. Do not despise the interruption. Embrace it, because the same God who shut the door is the one who is about to open a greater one. The same God who removed the wrong people is preparing to send the right ones. The same God who shifted your path is aligning you with destiny. Child of God, let your heart rest in this truth. Heaven's interruption is always for your elevation. God will never allow something to leave your life unless what He is about to bring is far greater. What you thought you lost, you will soon realize was never meant to stay. And what is coming will not just replace what you lost, it will exceed it abundantly. This emergency is not to harm you, but to save you. It is not the end of your story, but the beginning of a chapter that will reveal why everything had to shift the way it did. Trust the interruption because it is the fingerprint of a God who loves you too much to let you settle for less than His best. Chapter 5. Your faith is being tested. Child of God, one of the hardest truths to accept is that faith is not tested in comfort, it is tested in crisis. Emergencies are uncomfortable because they shake your sense of stability, they strip away your control, and they force you to confront whether your trust is in God or in the circumstances around you. A state of emergency feels like the ground is shifting beneath your feet. But this is exactly where God proves what you are made of, and more importantly, who you are anchored to. Faith is not proven when everything is calm and predictable. Faith is proven in the storm, when the winds are raging and the waters are rising. It is proven when you cannot see the outcome. When the numbers don't add up, when the doctor's report is unfavorable, when friends have walked away and yet you still lift your hands and say, "Though He slay me, yet will I trust Him." This is where you are right now. The shaking you feel is not a punishment, it is a test. God is watching how you respond in this season. Will you panic or will you praise? Will you surrender to fear, or will you anchor yourself in faith? Will you believe that He is still good when life feels anything but good? Child of God, hear me. This test is not meant to break you, but to build you. Just as gold must go through fire to be purified, your faith must go through trials to be proven genuine. The emergency you are walking through is not to expose your weakness, it is to reveal your strength in Him. Your tears, your prayers, your persistence in the face of adversity, they are all qualifying you for the next level of glory. Think about Abraham. God promised him a son, but then asked him to lay Isaac on the altar. That was not just a command, it was a test of faith. Would he trust God even when the request seemed impossible? Abraham's obedience became the doorway to generational blessing. Think about Job. Everything he had was stripped away in what looked like a personal state of emergency. Yet through his pain he declared, "I know my Redeemer lives." And in the end, God restored him double for his trouble. Your story may not look exactly like theirs, but the principle is the same. When your faith is tested, your testimony is being prepared. The pressure you feel is producing perseverance. The unanswered questions are producing endurance. The silence of God is producing sensitivity to His voice. And the weight of this trial is producing the strength you'll need to carry your next season. Do not despise the test. Do not curse the fire. Instead, lean into it with trust. The very thing that feels like it will break you is the thing God is using to make you unshakable. Every time you choose faith over fear, you're sowing into your future. Every time you keep standing when it would be easier to give up, heaven takes notice. Every time you declare God's promises when the evidence around you says otherwise, you are writing a record in the Spirit that cannot be erased. Child of God, lift your eyes. This test will not last forever, but the faith it produces will carry you for a lifetime. You are being qualified. You are being refined. You are being stretched for the greater that is coming. Do not run from the test, because it is the very thing positioning you for your testimony. So stand firm. Hold on. Keep believing. Your faith under fire is becoming the undeniable proof that you are ready for the next level. And when you come out of this emergency, and you will come out, you will not just survive it. You will rise from it carrying a faith so strong, so unshakable, that no storm in the future will be able to move you again. Chapter 6. The shift is already happening. Child of God, hear me clearly. The shaking you are experiencing is not a punishment. It is not proof that God has abandoned you. No, this is heaven's way of announcing that something is being birthed in your life. This state of emergency has come because time has expired on certain cycles, and now a shift is being forced into motion. The atmosphere around you is shifting. The very ground beneath you is being rearranged. What felt stable is no longer holding, because God has determined that you cannot stay where you are any longer. You may be asking, Walker, why now, Lord? Why all these changes at once? And the Spirit of God is saying, because if I did not shake it, you would not move. If I did not close it, you would still settle. If I did not disrupt it, you would remain comfortable in a place beneath your calling. This emergency is heaven's way of snatching you out of danger and propelling you into destiny. Look around your life and notice the signs. Certain doors that once seemed wide open are now slamming shut. People you thought would be with you forever have suddenly drifted away. Opportunities you were counting on have mysteriously collapsed. But child of God, don't misinterpret this. What you are calling rejection, heaven is calling protection. What you see as loss, God sees as preservation. He shut the door because He saw what was on the other side. He ended the relationship because he knew their presence would sabotage your future. He allowed the plan to fall apart because it wasn't big enough to carry the greatness inside you. Do you remember Joseph? He was thrown into a pit, sold into slavery, falsely accused, and thrown into prison. To the natural eye, it looked like loss after loss. But in the spirit, every shaking was moving him closer to the palace. That's exactly what is happening in your life. Each sudden change is a divine redirection. Each closed door is a signpost pointing you toward your promised land. Right now, angels are being dispatched on your behalf. Divine helpers are being stirred to move in your direction. Your name is being spoken in places your feet have not yet stepped. There are people you haven't met yet who are about to carry keys that unlock doors you never imagined walking through. These are not chance encounters. These are destiny alignments orchestrated by the hand of God. Child of God, don't let the shaking make you fearful. Let it make you expectant. The wilderness season is drawing to a close. You will not wander forever. You will not labor in circles any longer. The manna that sustained you in the desert is about to be replaced by harvest in the promised land. You are crossing over, and though you may feel the ground trembling beneath you, that trembling is proof that the old structures are collapsing and the new foundations are being laid. Listen closely. The shift is not something you are waiting for in the distant future. The shift is already happening. The atmosphere has changed. The alignment has begun. The oil on your life is increasing. The doors are unlocking. The chains are breaking. The Red Sea is parting and the Jordan is drying up before your very eyes. This is why the enemy has been fighting you so fiercely. He knows you are standing on the edge of breakthrough. He knows that one more step will push you into territory he cannot touch. That's why he tried to distract you with fear, with confusion, with exhaustion. But child of God, the emergency has already been declared and heaven has already responded. What the enemy planned for evil, God has already flipped for your good. You are not walking into the shift, you are already in it. Lift your head high, wipe your tears, straighten your back. The move of God is not coming, it is here. And nothing, no lie, no delay, no demonic force can reverse what heaven has already released. Chapter 7. Walk into your new season. Finally, beloved child of God, hear this with the weight of eternity behind it. The state of emergency over your life is not permanent. It was not sent to destroy you, but to deliver you. It was never the final chapter. It was the bridge, the transition, the necessary shaking that would push you out of what you had outgrown and carry you into what God had promised. This emergency was the divine alarm clock of heaven waking you up to destiny. It came to break cycles, to cut ties with what could not go with you and to shift your perspective. It was not punishment, it was preparation. It was heaven's loud declaration that you were never meant to die in the wilderness, never meant to settle in survival mode, never meant to remain hidden in obscurity. The alarm sounded because your appointed time had come. You have been in the desert long enough. You have walked through nights of silence, praying prayers that felt unanswered. You have wrestled with doubts, asking God, why me? Why so long? Why this pain? But the Spirit of the Lord says the wilderness was your training ground. It was where I built your faith, sharpened your discernment, and purified your heart. It was where I tested you so that when the blessing comes, it will not break you. You are not leaving empty, you are leaving equipped. Now the shift is clear, you are crossing over, out of confusion into clarity, out of scarcity into overflow, out of wandering into direction, out of brokenness into wholeness. The season of emergency is closing, and the season of establishment is opening. Look around and see the signs. Relationships that could not carry the weight of your calling have fallen away. Paths that once seemed secure but were not God's will have been closed. The doors that remain standing are the doors that heaven has ordained. Do not fear what has ended. Rejoice for what is about to begin. The same God who parted the Red Sea for Israel and made a dry path through the Jordan is clearing a way for you right now. Child of God, walk boldly. This is not the time to shrink back. This is not the time to question whether you are worthy. You have already been approved by heaven. Your name has been cleared in the courts of God. Your steps have been ordered before the foundation of the world. You are walking into territory that was written in your destiny long before your enemies tried to block it. Every false word spoken against you is being overturned. Every tongue that rose against you in judgment is being silenced. Every lie is being exposed. The very ones who laughed at you will be witnesses of your lifting. The very ones who tried to bury you will have to watch God resurrect and exalt you. And here is the truth. Your victory is already secured. Not because of your strength, not because of your wisdom, but because God Himself has gone before you. The angels of the Lord are encamped around you. The Spirit of the living God is filling you with fresh oil. Heaven's resources are aligning on your behalf. So rise up, step forward, take your place. This is your call to move, your call to build, your call to expand, your call to shine. Do not hold back. Do not doubt. Do not delay. The state of emergency ends with breakthrough, with testimony, with vindication, with destiny fulfilled. Your new season is not coming. It has already begun. Walk in it, live in it, declare it, and never again look back, for the wilderness is behind you, and your promised land is before you. Child of God, this is your appointed time. Walk into it with boldness, with gratitude, and with unshakable faith. For what God has spoken, He will surely bring to pass.